Hello, Healyworld around the world. Welcome to our update webinar today. Well, I have to say really welcome to the whole world because we are live in Australia, America, Germany, Italy. Every 45 countries we're actually right now are open in. So welcome to all our members, all our leaders today on our webinar. Of course, as always, my name is Frank Deile. I'm the Chief Sales Officer of Healyworld. And of course, I'm not alone here today because we have invited a few more guests, of course. And first and foremost, our founder of Healyworld, our visionary, our genius behind our great product, Healy, Markus Schmieke. Hi, Markus.
Hi, Frank. Hi, everyone.
And of course, today on the call with us as well, our CEO, Andreas Kornberger. Hi, Andreas. With us as well is a little bit in the dark with moving curtains behind him, our new Chief Technical Officer, Dirk Lüsebrink. Hi, Dirk. Thanks for being here.
Hello. Thanks for having me.
I have to excuse one more person we had invited, our Chief Operating Officer, Carsten Marx. He has a personal situation and can unfortunately not be on the call with us today, but I will take over his part and try to explain as good as possible what he wanted to share with you. And last, but of course not least, is a great leader here with us today. He's also our global master distributor. So welcome, Carsten Lange. Hi, Carsten.
Hello, everyone. Hi.
So this is the team for today's webinar. Of course, unfortunately, we are very limited in the slots for the speakers in our webinar jam platform because we would have liked actually to have much more people on the call with us from corporate staff, our GMs around the world, some other corporate people. Of course, also other leaders besides Carsten, like our leader Georg Döller, our great leaders from the States, no matter if it's Sarah Rodriguez, Terry Paris, Peter Speech from Australia, Taryn Lee Harrington from Asia, Stefano Gobato from France or Spain, Stefan Olivier. So all our really, really great leaders we have, but unfortunately we're a little bit limited in the slots of the speakers. So we concentrated mainly on our management staff from Healyworld to give you an update today, what is currently going on in Healyworld. As you all heard, most likely, we had to part with our other global master distributor, Dirk Zahlmann. I have to say at this point, really, we're grateful for everything he did for us, building Healyworld with Markus together, but sometimes the path in life splits sometimes. So this is, I just want to mention this because we are actually together here with you in Healyworld. We, all the management, Markus, Carsten as a global distributor, we are all very determined for Healy, building Healyworld further. So for you, this separation from Healyworld and Dirk has actually no further disturbance. It has not any effect on you. And I just wanted to say thank you for everything Dirk did. But of course, we will continue to build Healyworld together with you, our members, our leaders, together with Carsten as our great global master distributor we have. And actually, we are very lucky to have. So, but I want to really actually dive right in because we have a packed program for you. So, and as Markus is here with us, which is also and always a very, very great honor, is so who's sharing the screen with us right now? To have Markus with us actually on the call. So we want to dive right in, and I want to start the presentation. Maybe I can overlap this. Thank you very much. So Markus is, as I always say, our visionary, our genius behind the product. But before we even want to talk about the product, we want to talk a little bit, Markus, I would like to give Markus a chance to talk a little bit about what he's working on in order to to make Healy stronger, I would say, around the world. So I want to really turn the word right over to Marcus and to hear from Marcus a little bit what he's working on right now. So Marcus, I'm over to you. Marcus, you're on silent.
I think, Frank, you can put the presentation away for the beginning now. Yes. Thank you so much for the introduction. And yes, while Healyworld is expanding to so many places and going through all the different phases of a fast-growing startup network, we are doing lots of very substantial work here in Kassel-Kränzlin, which is something like the heart of Healy. There are different places all over the world where Healy work is done, and Kränzlin is the place, this castle is the place where we are very much concerned with the development and with the research in the background and developing new ideas, new products, and developing the science behind. And then not far from here is Berlin. It's maybe 1 hour drive. And this is our digital headquarters, where many people working for not only on the digital on the digital systems, but much also on development. And yes, then if we want to come to Wiesbaden, it takes a few hours by car or by flight. But yes, Healyworld started to expand from this very, very place. So in the last 1.5 months since Healyworld is growing, we use the time to further develop our product. So not everything what we are doing, or most of the part we are doing, you cannot see immediately. But normally if I start a new development, it might take 2 or 3 years so that it is visible as a new product. So in the background, so many things are going on, but I don't want to make the mistake to speak about products which are not yet absolutely ready. So our goal right now is to consolidate those products which are already on the market. Like the Healy itself doesn't need so much consolidation. It's basically a perfect product which will also develop further, but it will stay basically as it is. So that's the heart of the Healyworld. So the Healy Advisor app, which many of you are using for getting information about which program to use and background information and using their application calendar. This is an app which is very much developing in the background. So probably in October, when we have our annual Healyworld Global Online Conference, you will see a lot of the work we are doing right now as the new features of this Healy Advisor app. Also, the Healy Watch will be relaunched for October this year. That's very important because we want to keep what we promise, and we are aware that the original launch of the Healy Watch didn't fulfill all the expectations, especially the Healy Watch app was not really mature. So in the background, all the work is being done so that the Healy Watch and the Healy Watch app and the connection to the Healy Advisor app and to the Healy will be fully functional and an amazing tool for you to use for this conference in October. One very important aspect of this is that the Healy Watch will send its data to the cloud. And in the cloud, we are having very special algorithms to calculate aspects of the heart rate variability, which we have used already the last 8 or 10 years in time-vaver cardio system, and time-vaver pulse, which is a system which we have until now mainly used through professionals, but it is very, very, very helpful, giving very interesting parameters about the different aspects of your balance in body, mind, and yes, in the body and the psyche, and in the emotional part. So this will be functions and features which will be added to the Healywatch, which will be added to the Healywatch app and to the Heal Advisor app. And of course, we are developing new programs for the Healy also, which will in future appear as new modules in the Heal Advisor app. So, but I don't want to talk too much about it, because it shall be also a big surprise. Apple is also not really so much speaking about the products which come out in the next annual conventions. So we will also not do this, but I'm really confident that you will have a very good surprise and will be really amazed about what's coming up. There will be also a new hardware coming, but this will be a very, very special surprise, which will enlarge the possibilities which you have with your Healy a lot. And I really would like to tell you what it is, but the best thing I can do is not talk any farther on this. So there are two things we want to do in October. One is really like a relaunch of all our products, so that they really keep everything what we are promising, that they are mature, that they have a great usability, and that the digital shortcomings which we have experienced in the past with activations and so on, that will not happen anymore. So this is our goal for October with the products, and we will only be launching a small part of the new products we're working on in October. The major part we have spared for the beginning of the new year, because we have learned one thing from the past, that the more time we have to really complete the development of the product, the better it is. So most of the products which we originally wanted to launch in the end of this year, we have postponed to spring 2021, so that if they come out into the field, they're all fully functional and will be a great, wonderful surprise. So that's our strategy. We have changed it a little. In the past, we wanted to be very quick on the market, so we are slowing down, and this will be a great advantage for the quality of our products. Things take more time in development than we expect, but yeah, that's our plan. So in the meantime, we have did much more work on the scientific basis of Healy, and especially on the question, how can we explain how Healy works, on which level Healy works, frequencies work, what is the information field, what is the bioenergetic field, all these questions. We have worked out new models to explain it in a simple way, but not in a too simple way. So I want to take you on a small journey through some of the stations now. And the first station is something which will challenge you a little. And I like to ask Frank to give us the first picture of the presentation, which is, yes, here it is. So this will be a little challenging, but don't worry. Soon after this, I will give you a very simplified version of the same figure, of the same graphic, which will give you an idea what Healy is doing. So what I'm presenting here is not really mainstream science, but it's something like what's called emerging science. It's like on the frontiers of science, but there are many great scientists, also Nobel laureates, who are thinking about this terminology which I'm using here. So it's not yet there at the universities, but it's a little ahead of its time. So if you look at this picture, maybe in the beginning it looks bewildering, but then if you understand the structure, it shows you, it gives you a clear insight about the ideas and the worldview behind Healy. And here you see Healy in the very center. In the very center of this picture is Healy. So what is the center? The center is a level which I call the quantum processes. So the level of the quantum processes is dividing our world in two halves. One half is below, we just can call it matter, and the other half is above, we call it information. Matter and information are not really two different things, but they are actually one. Information can manifest as matter, and matter can be explained as information. Actually, that's a very, very most important lesson of quantum physics, is that matter on its deepest level is information, and information through energy transforms constantly into matter. So we can look at this world as matter, but we can look at the world from another perspective as information. And quantum physics actually looks at this world more as information than on matter. But we experience the world as matter with our senses, but our senses are gathering information about this world. So in a way, this reality in which we are living is a constant transformation of energy in information, information into energy, energy into matter, and matter into information. It's a process, a very creative process, where these three very fundamental aspects of reality, matter, energy, and information, are transformed into each other. And the main transformator between matter and information, this is what we call quantum processes. So let's look at matter. Matter has two aspects. The first aspect is our molecular body. This we all know from school. Our body consists of molecules which are connected by chemical forces and interact through electrons, but they also interact through photons. So these are two aspects of our electromagnetic body. The electromagnetic body is a field which permeates our whole body. It's more subtle than the molecules of our body, but these fields are controlling our body. So it's electrical fields and electrical energy on the lower side, and the upper side, it's quantum fields of light, or quantum electromagnetic fields. This is what we call the biophotons. So all of this together makes up the way how we visualize matter here. It's a molecular aspect of our body, and this is the electromagnetic aspect, which has an electrical aspect and a very subtle aspects of biophotons. So we will talk a little later about the electrical aspect, which we have very much focused always in our explanations about Healy regarding the cell membrane potential. The cells are really the most important units within our body, and the cells produce the energy which we are using in our body, and they produce this energy in the form of ATP, which is something like the fuel of the cells, and this becomes the fuel of the body. It creates the heat, it creates our ability to move, everything. But the cells can only produce the ATP if they have a strong electrical potential. It's like a battery. It needs a voltage. So our cell membrane have a voltage. This is the basic electrical unit which we are using. But above this, our cells communicate with each other through photons. This is electromagnetic radiation. And those photons, which have a very specific biological meaning, are called biophotons. They are quantum, photons are also quantum-like, but they're creating a coherent quantum field, which is like an aura, but this is actually a scientific field, permeates our whole body and controls many of the biochemical and biophysical processes. So that's the visible material world. But on top of it, this material substances of our systems are permeated by information fields which through quantum processes guide the movements of the electrons, the movements of the body, guide the chemical reactions. This is all done within the information field, which very nature is quantum entanglement. So quantum entanglement, it's a very specific term from quantum physics, but I want to give you a very clear idea what it is. If you have two things, like the Healy and the small statue, if they are once connected in a quantum process, even if they move very far away from each other and are separated, they will be still connected by quantum entanglement. This is something which we know it's true for photons, it's true for electrons, but it's generally true for everything which once had a connection with each other, that it will stay connected in a generalized sense. So, but this means that all the things in this world have a kind of relationship which is hidden. It's hidden because we analyze this world in terms of separate objects, and we can only do this by losing the information of wholeness. So to get this information of wholeness back into the picture, we need the information field, which very nature is quantum entanglements, as a complementation of our material worldview. Otherwise, we end up in a world which doesn't make any sense anymore, where we cannot connect body back to the mind and the spirit, which is very much necessary to make meaning out of this world. So we have the information field up here, we have the material body up here, and in between we have the quantum processes. And this is where Healy operates, because Healy in its very center, it's something like on the back of the Healy hardware. It has what we call a quantum sensor. It's actually a physical noise generator, which through entanglements connects the information fields with the material aspect of our organism. So the Healy analyzes on this level of the quantum processes, it analyzes constantly which frequencies shall be applied to achieve two goals. And these two goals are very clearly shown in this graphic. There's one arrow going down and one arrow going up. It's actually the same arrow which has two directions, but this makes it very clear. From Healy comes microcurrent. Microcurrent is electrical current which has a very, very low amplitude. The amplitude is so small that you can hardly feel it, but it's high enough so that our cells can recognize this microcurrent, and it's of the same amplitude as the currents which our body produces itself. For example, if we cut ourselves, the body is producing very low amplitude of current to support the healing. So this is the same principle. We are using the microcurrent, which is coming from Healy with low frequencies to affect the electromagnetic body, especially on the level of the cell membrane, but also on the higher levels. The low frequencies work very much down to the border between the electrical field and the body, and the little higher frequencies work higher up. But then the higher frequencies, they work in this direction. They work towards the bioenergetic field. The bioenergetic field is that part of the information field which relates to our body through bioenergy. Bioenergy is chi in Chinese tradition or prana in Indian tradition, but it's actually flows of quantum information and quantum energy which connects the information field with the material aspect of our being. So the Healy is really placed in the middle, and through the two ways how the microcurrent frequencies operates, connects the information field to the material aspect of our existence. So I want to show you, I can move myself in this direction. look at this simple picture. It's a simplified version of the diagram which we just looked at. We still have the Healy in the center, and from the Healy we have microcurrent frequencies going in two directions. One direction is the microcurrent with the low frequencies, where the microcurrent itself is more predominant. And the other is the microcurrent with the high frequencies, where the frequencies are in the foreground. They are more predominant. So looking down, the low frequency modulated microcurrent actually aims at the cell, at the cellular level, with the goal to increase the cellular energy. Whereas the frequencies, the higher frequencies, they aim at the bioelectrical field, the bioenergetic field, and they are designed to harmonize the bioenergetic field. But the bioenergetic field is active in the environment of the cell, and the cell is active within the environment of the bioenergetic field. So the fields are within the body, and the body is within the fields. This is the wisdom of this ancient Taoistic symbol, which gives us such a deep insight into how this world is organized. That within the material we find the spiritual, and within the spiritual we find the material. Or within the matter we find the information field, and within the information field we find matter. It's not two things, it's two sides of the same coin. Or here we have it as the two aspects of reality. And the symbolism of this yin and yang symbol is very clearly, if you look at it, it's a vibration or it's a frequency. So how does matter and information talk to each other? Through transfer of energy. And this transfer of energy can only happen through frequency and amplitude. So frequency is really the most important property of the energy flow which connects information field and matter. So we will publish this two diagrams very soon. This diagram will be a part of the company presentation in the future, whereas the original diagram, which more complexity, and I have written 2 pages of explanation about this we will publish in our manual or in an additional explanatory text to the manual very soon. We just need to translate it into the different languages of the world so that you will have both of the pictures to get a little clearer idea about this kind of emerging science behind Healy. And the goal of this science is really to connect body, mind, and soul, to connect information, matter, and energy in one big picture. So this is one aspect of what we are working on and have been working on to make Healy, give you a deeper insight into how Healy functions. There are many details I won't talk about today, but I just want to show you 2 new pictures. And they are not so new, and probably you recognize immediately what you see here, because we have talked a lot about the cell membrane potential. The cell membrane potential is actually the voltage at the cell membrane. And remember, you all saw this diagram in a different way already. Here, we're presenting it in a new way because we want to be more precise scientifically. In the old graph, it was not wrong, but it was giving average values. And here, the average values are replaced by areas. For example, the healthy young cell starts at -90 millivolt and goes up to -45 millivolt. So that's all the range in which the healthy young cell can operate. Like a liver cell normally is around 45 millivolt, whereas a muscle cell needs a higher action potential of minus 90 millivolt, and all the other cells are in between. So this is a more precise idea, presentation of the same idea. So at minus 45 millivolt, uncontrolled cell division starts. So this is the area we really want to avoid. And in between minus 60 and minus 30 millivolt, we have the cell which starts to age, which develops symptoms of sickness and starts to cause pain. So this is a gradual process which starts with a young and healthy cell, and through a gradual process goes until 0 millivolt, which actually means that the cell is dying. And here we have areas where inflammation or ischemic situations or pains are predominant. So this is in future, in the component presentation and in the manual and everywhere, this actualized model of the cell membrane potential will replace the one which we had before. The old one is not wrong. The new one is more precise and more scientific. So if you get the new one, you can put both of them next to each other and you will see how they actually correspond to each other. And this model actually goes back to two great researchers, Robert Becker and Björn Norderström, and especially Björn Norderström. Both of them are amazing pioneers with a very strong standing in the scientific community. Björn Norderström was even the former chairman of the Nobel Prize Committee for Medicine. Now I want to show you another diagram which will also be a part of the company presentation in future, because we're talking about the cell, and not everyone really still has a very clear about how a cell is actually composed. So here you see the cell membrane, and the cell membrane itself, it's not conductive, so it's not conducting electricity. It's like, yeah. So outside the cell, we have a positive potential, and inside the cell, we have a negative potential. That's the meaning of why we are saying a minus 90 millivolt, why the cell membrane potential is negative, because inside the cell, the intracellular space, it's charged negatively. So this creates the cell membrane potential, which is up to minus 90 millivolt. But the cell membrane potential is not the only membrane potential in the cell, because inside the cell, we have the mitochondria. The mitochondria are the little power stations of the cell, and actually they are producing the ATP, and they have the mitochondria have their own membrane potential, which is even higher. It's minus 150 millivolt. So when the cell membrane potential of the cell is strong, we can also expect a strong membrane potential at the mitochondria. And this is exactly the place where the ATP production takes place, where the cell produces the energy which we need for moving and for living. So actually, I have done a lot of research on the state of science on the cell membrane potential, and on the mitochondria, and they all indicate that microcurrent, with especially the low frequencies, can be supportive for both of this membrane potential, for the cell membrane potential itself and for the membrane potential of the mitochondria also. So here we have a very good model to explain how the microcurrent dominant aspect of Healy works, whereas the Nunonina programs of the Healy, they are mainly focusing on the effect of the frequencies on the bioenergetic field. So we are relying, when we use Healy, on both of these effects. We want to harmonize with the higher frequencies, the bioenergetic field, and with the lower frequency microcurrent, we want to support the cellular energy. And all this together gives a very strong basis to the effect of the Healy. I found there is a very interesting way to measure the cell membrane potential non-invasively by measuring the bioimpedance and a related parameter from the bioimpedance, which is called the phase angle. So we have done lots of experiments here in our laboratory and have seen that actually the low microcurrent frequencies applied by Healy, they can increase this. So we found a new way to measure actually how microcurrent frequencies can increase the cellular membrane potential. So there's a lot of new things coming up, and we will keep you informed about the process, and most of the things we will also publish in the network. Then the last thing I want to conclude with today, because there's more speakers, is a very important aspect of our work, is to do studies with Healy. And one ongoing study with Healy, which we want to start very soon, is referring to the quickly growing network. We're having every day, we're having hundreds and hundreds of new people using the Healy. So in the future, we want to give to everyone who uses the Healy, before he starts first time using the Healy, a very simple questionnaire, but very profound. We have designed this questionnaire together with a doctor of medicine from Berlin, with another physician and a team who are normally designing clinical studies. So this questionnaire will ask simple questions to determine the state, the situation, how a person feels before he starts using Healy, how he sleeps, how is his energy level, what is his concrete situation. And then the person uses Healy, the new member or the new customer uses Healy for 2 weeks or up to 4 weeks, and then he gets automatically access to the same questionnaire again, and to have a report on what changed during his using Healy. And we have lots of experiences with what really Healy does good to the people, but in this way, we want to get a lot of data. Imagine if we have only 100 people responding in a day to this survey, it would be 3,000 in a month, and in 3 months, it would be 10,000 persons filling out this questionnaire. So we will have an ongoing monitoring of how effective Healy is in different areas. And whenever we change something, we deliver new frequency products, or we optimize certain things and how Healy works with the people, we can almost immediately see the result, and we are getting a growing amount of data. If this system is established, we could even have a website where we continuously display the actual numbers of satisfaction, of improvement or change of different areas, like what's the bioenergetic state of the people. So I think this will be very, very helpful for our growing network to have a direct feedback of how effective Healy is for helping people with their well-being, with their vitality, and with their holistic health. So I could talk much more now, but I think this is enough for now to give you a little insight about what we are doing product-wise and also research-wise. And yes, I'm so much looking forward to October, where we can actually really show you and give to your hands what we have prepared for you in the meantime. So thank you very much for listening. I hope this was not too technical and too detailed, but if you're already using Healy, you have a right to know the background, a little about the science and of it, and I see my main duty in doing this. So thank you again, and wish you still a nice webinar.
Thank you very much, Marcus. Well, I couldn't agree more with you. Thank you for all the genius work you do here for Healy every day. And I know you're really working hard on making everything sustainable and a really great product for everyone. And I want to quickly recap a little bit. So for the October conference, which I will mention in a few minutes as well again, we will actually not only introduce new products like really, for me, mind-blowing products. You will have new subscriptions, but really also bringing all the existing subscriptions like Healy Watch, Heal Advisor, Digital Nutrition, which we already have improved over the last couple weeks and months drastically, like, for example, with implementing our application plan in the Heal Advisor. But we will also really, as Marcus said, make them fully functional with an improved usability, with additional features, and of course with also brand new subscriptions, brand new frequency programs for different areas of your life. So we're really looking forward to this. And again, thank you, Marcus, for everything you do every day for Healyworld and for all our members out there.
Okay.
So I really want to give you a short update in regards to sales. As you know, we are already in the second year now in 45 countries worldwide. Recently, in 1st of May, the last country joined, the United States. It became rapidly growing and already is our biggest market around the world. But also all our other markets are in Europe, in Asia, are performing very well. And on one side, I know that Marcus has the goal, and we all do, to have in a couple of years 100 million households using our Healy. The 100 is kind of a magical number because we have also for this year, for 2020 only, the goal to reach 100 million in sales. And I can tell you, we're way ahead of track when we think about being in the end of July. And this is all due to you, all to our members and leaders who fight through all the obstacles sometimes you're in your way. And I want to actually tell you another great news, because it's another number with 100, because the last weekend, we actually welcomed our 100,000th Healyworld member. I'm not telling you already who it is. You will be informed by newsletter and by other media about who it is, but I can already tell you he's not from the United States, but he's from Holland. So it's a brand new member in Holland. We just welcomed our 100,000th Healyworld member. For us, really an awesome number in such amount of time. Same as our revenue goal for this year, which we are very positive that we probably even overachieve. So again, thank you for doing this. But I want to mention a little bit about where are we currently at. We grew rapidly with all the pain coming with growing so fast. On one hand, it's a blessing. On the other hand, sometimes it can be a curse, because an organization cannot grow sometimes in the speed we grew with the revenue and the member count and all this. So we dedicated really the rest of the year 2020, and we're working already on this for the last couple of months in the background to really focus on the fact to bring Healyworld to a place where you and all your members and customers can experience a great company with systems which are working, with deliveries, so all the little problems we might have right now, we have dedicated all the time, all the resources to fix what we have to fix in the course of this year. And therefore also, we will not open any further countries in this year. I know, coming from a salesperson, this is probably a little bit weird to hear, because if it's after me, I can open a country every day. But we have to realize that we're in a situation where we have to focus on things that work, systems that work, deliveries, everything related to a good business and a good business experience. And therefore, even if it hurts sometimes, we cannot focus on other country openings because we're making the problem bigger and bigger and bigger with every new country we're opening right now. So we are bringing all existing countries up to a working standard so that you have a good business experience with Healyworld. And we are of course, have projected and working on with a complete team, which is not disturbed by other issues, on the country openings for the beginning of 2021, which will be South Korea, Canada, and Mexico. And once we have completed this year, we can also then make plans for the rest of the year 2021 and see what other countries we are going to open. So this is a short update when it comes to the country updates, but I want to, as we mentioned it before already, talk a little bit about our Healy conference, or conferences actually, I have to say. Well, due to the corona situation around the world this year, we had to postpone our worldwide Healy Around the World conference in Munich in October 2020. As we probably not all the continents, not all the countries will be able to travel at this time of the year. So we will do an online conference for you to give you all the updates, to give you everything we would have given you on the live conference on October 17th, 2020. We will get you more information on how to log in and what the program is in due course. It actually gave us a good opportunity, on the other hand, to move our worldwide conference, which was last year in Barcelona in the beginning of November, to move our worldwide conference to the beginning of the year, where it actually should have been in the first place, because to start a year with a worldwide conference. But as we started beginning of 2019, the first conference was in fall. So the corona situation gave us the possibility to move our worldwide conference to a place where we actually think it's much better in March 2021. And then in the fall 2021, we will then add the second piece of the puzzle. We will go on and do regional conferences in Europe, Asia, and the United States. And this will be the model we will continue in the coming years as well. So we always have a worldwide conference at the beginning of the year, and towards the end of the year, we will do regional conferences in the continents. Also, we will increase drastically our headcount, and I want to focus here on the sales part. So we're in the process of hiring a head of sales for the US, Asia, Europe, and the CIS countries, in order to support you as leaders much better, to support you in the continent, in the country, in meetings, in webinars, in development of your business. But this is not it, because I've taken over the part for Carsten Marx a little bit later, where I will talk about the general situation of staff, hub development, and so forth. But in sales, we will also dramatically increase, besides also the heads of sales, to support you as leaders in a much better way. We also created Healy advisory boards, because we know as a company, of course, that your input from the field, from our members and leaders, is very valuable. We might not be able to go and do every suggestion you have and put this into practice, but we want to mirror the field a little bit, and what your needs are, what your expectations are, what your wishes are, in order to give you a better business opportunity. Therefore, we have created Healy advisory boards, because, of course, we cannot follow 100,000 people and do everything, but we want to create a platform where you, through the leaders and the people in these advisory boards, can actually participate and bring things to the table. So we have different advisory boards established, which is a general field advisory board, which, for example, Carsten Lange here on the call is a member of. We have established a product advisory board where we will do regular interviews and develop a customer journey together with you for the applications, for all the other product needs and problems and issues we are seeing in the field. Recently, we have also created this for our IT back office as an advisory board in order to put your input already in the development of our new systems and platforms, which our CTO, Dirk Lusebrink, will talk a little bit later. And to be still announced or established is our marketing advisory board, because also we want to have your input on what do you need, what kind of videos do you think you need, what kind of product documentation, what kind of really tools you need for your business. So therefore, we have established these boards already, and we will probably continue in other areas as well to really filter your input and your needs from the field as well. So this was just a very quick, very brief overview on what we are doing here. But I want to continue with this also in terms of operations. So a part of operations is support, and I know support is probably one of your biggest pain points right now, because we understand there is an issue, then you raise a ticket, and in a lot of cases you don't get an answer, very late answers, what all the issues are. So for support, especially when we look at this part of operations, we are working on the global support development in general. This includes hiring, and we already hired a lot of additional staff. And this is worldwide, no matter if it's Europe or if it's Asia, if it's the United States. But in general, at the end of the day, we can hire 100 people if we don't get to the root of the ticket, if we don't stop the cause why you create tickets. So we made in-depth analysis to get to the root of these issues. We are working on fixing those issues. And I give you only a little example of, for example, what this could be. Let's say you buy a Healy resonance. You know all about, you need a master key for the resonance application. So a lot of people have issues how to work the master key. They don't save it, then they don't have it anymore. And the master key is a security function of the resonance analysis. So we're changing the whole way of using the master key so that it's much more easier for you, because the security feature is very important, but we need to make it much more user-friendly. So this will reduce tickets. And this is with everything we do at the end of the day, we need to find the root, analyze what it is, and fix the root cause of the problem. But in order to get all the backlog of tickets and stuff solved and reduced, we hired also external agencies to help us with our internal teams to reduce tickets, to support you better and reply faster also to tickets. And we are also continuing to enhance the My Support system we have in the back office already to make it user-friendlier, to give you already solutions while you raise the tickets. Maybe we can send you a short video, or we can give you a few hints on what the problem could be, because a lot of times the problem is always the same coming back. So we will enhance the support system in a way that it's a little bit more self-sufficient, and we always not need to have a customer agent at the end of the day answer every ticket, because a lot of the times, like I said, the tickets are very similar. When we look at the markets, because I said we are hiring also a lot of people, and I want to give you a little overview on how the operational view on the markets is at this moment. So when we look at the development of our headquarters in Europe, we really have an organizational framework now in place. It's a little bit a funny explanation, but we need also to make sure we have the right butts in the correct seats. Sometimes, you have a good person, but he's at the wrong spot or at the wrong position. We need to increase our know-how. Whatever we don't have internally, we cannot be experts for everything. We need external consultation, external help, which we already have on board in a lot of different areas. But we also need to be probably a little bit more realistic on project planning. At the beginning, we probably wanted too much at the same time. And we need to realize, and that's why we're always also slowing down the country openings and all this, so that we have really time to implement a realistic project planning and also have the right processes implemented and optimized so that all the processes work automatically without any additional manual labor we have to do. We're also working on transparency across the whole company, the board, whoever is involved. And we all do this because at the end of the day, we want to build Healyworld as a safe harbor for you as our members, as our leaders, where you're confident that you can do business with in the next 20 or 30 years. But the same also counts for our staff members. We need to create for them the same experience in the same workplace for them to be happy and happy to work with Healyworld. And we need to enable a lot of our staff with training, external courses, and really raise the knowledge level to a degree which we expect. When we look at our world map, we right now have different offices around the world. In the US, we are right now still in the search, in the implementation of an office in the USA. We already have offices in the Philippines, in Ukraine, in Singapore, in Germany. So we have already quite a big amount of staff. If you can see in the headquarters, in our offices in Europe, we have over 100 employees, in Asia 20, in Turkey 3, and in the US only 11 for now. So at the end of the day, what we always say in the network, duplication, 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 we have to do actually the exact same thing when it comes to our hubs. Our hubs, Asia, Europe, Singapore, USA, that we have to mirror exactly the organization we have in Europe to the US, to Asia, to enable those hubs to implement all core structures, implement all core processes we do in Europe, but also adapting the cultural needs of each region, really to respect the culture, to communicate in the way the culture is communicating. And, you know, we Germans sometimes communicate maybe very straightforward and with not a lot of words around it. In other countries, that seems a little bit rough or rude. So we need to take this in consideration. That's why we will also have marketing and operations and all these departments in the hubs as well. And we are working already on that, on strengthening all these hubs to give them more responsibility and more autonomy also from the corporate office. So really also outsourcing, helping or consulting with other companies for certain areas, for example, in marketing or in social media or whatever it is. And the goal is really to grow with the revenue of the region. If you look at the US right now, we have the highest revenue around the world, but we have the organization not fitting the revenue as it is. So we need to strengthen the organization so that they can be self-sufficient and autonomous from also a headquarters or decisions to be made at headquarters. So when I want to conclude the operations part with a very other important part, and that is logistics. I know, especially right now in the Corona times, where we have a backlog with orders, where we don't have wristband electrodes because of the suppliers, we couldn't get them to produce them for us. So when we look at the US, we are right now at a very good situation in terms of that by the end of this week, we have enough stock in the US to solve all the back orders we have. We will ship that in a expedited way so that the members will have that probably beginning to mid next week. And that will mean in the US, we are on zero backlog. And from beginning of next week, we can deliver how the order comes in and already ship it out at the same day. So this excludes the armband electrodes, because we still we get smaller quantities every week. We are raising the production now, so we will ship the armband electrodes separately in the US, and they will come to you automatically without raising a ticket or anything. As soon as we get stock, we will send out by list who haven't received them. But the good thing is, everybody will hold the Healy in their hands next week, and we are continuing to deliver from next week on a normal basis. In Europe and Asia, also due to the delivery of or the delay of delivery with the wristbands, we have still a little bit of delay. Right now it's 2 to 3 weeks. In Europe, we hope to increase the potential of delivery by end of next week, so that we probably can deliver already much earlier the backlog and then continue normally to deliver. But our next steps are also that we will not only have zero backlog in the US, but we're in the final stage of implementing more shipping options. So they have a next day, a 2 to 3 day, a 5 to 7 day, whatever option you can choose will be implemented. So you as a customer, as a member, can choose what delivery option you want, and therefore this will be implemented in the next few days, so that we have actually, when we come to a backlog reduction, that we have options for the new orders. So I know this was a lot, and we will continue to give you much more information, but I want to turn over to our new Chief Technical Officer. I'm very happy that he is on board, because he's a very structured, very straightforward German, I have to say, because he has no limitations. He has no emotions when it comes to our systems, to our platforms. He just sees what is working, what is not working, and very, very straightforward, he's going to work on that. So thanks for that, and welcome our Chief Technical Officer, Dirk Lüsebrink. Hi, Dirk.
Yes, hello. That's my part now. Thanks for having me, Frank. Thanks for inviting me, and actually I'm really quite excited for you having me today. I am the German, yes, and I am the new guy, and I am with the company for 2 months now. Some of you might have seen me already like 2 or 3 weeks ago. There was another meeting with some leaders. I'm pretty new to the company, I'm new to the network, but I'm not new to IT. I'm doing this for 30 years, and this is a really interesting, exciting moment for me to kind of join this fast-growing, vast network of people, of technology, and this is a lot of fun. So I'm not only the humorless German, I'm also a nerd, and I can try to walk you through a few small slides showing you what we are working on, what we started to get things better. As I am the first time in such a webinar, Frank, update me whenever I do something wrong or differently.
Just give me a hint when you want the next slide, I guide you.
Is it that I am guiding my slides? Yes, I can do, exactly. Basically, the presentation I give you, it's like 5 or 6 slides about 2 parts. The first is the organization model, what we're working on, and the second is the technical side. So it's a people side and it's the technical side. Yes, we understood. Let's start with the organizational transformation, because from the very moment I stepped into the company, I realized, or I learned very fast. It was a fast and steep learning curve for me, that things are not as optimal as they could be, to put it this way. Yes, I understood that. I have been in contact with end users and systems which are not working perfectly. Basically, a lot of time as an IT person, you are used to things are failing and breaking, and so I'm very experienced in setting this up, and that is what I mean with we understood. I know exactly what you're feeling, and I bring everything I can to the table to make it actually better. So let's go dive right into it. What I started changing and transforming, this is the organizational part, the organizational transformation. customer centricity. It is all a means to an end. It's always about a product. It's always about you in the end. It's doesn't matter how much interested I am in technology or anybody of us doing things. Everything we are doing for a reason. That means we build everything what we do, every system I touch, every line of code I write is only to make something better and working on your side. And this is what I changed in my team, changed with the people. I'm getting away from this traditional silo architecture, what we know from hierarchical companies, towards an agile, organic structure. So we are creating cross-functional teams. So you see this on the slide from the left to the right. I'm setting up, or I changed my organizational structure, and I'm also driving it through the company to have a vertical organization. That means there are not some techies in the back end somewhere, and there are some salespeople and product people somewhere else, and they are not connected to each other. It is the other way around. It's a vertical integration. You get cross-functional teams. You have all expertise is what you need to build the full experience, to build the full customer experience. In one place, and the different experts, the programmer and the concept guy and the sales guy, the marketing guy, the designer, the physics guy, whatever it takes, they are together in one team, have a vertical organization. And if there's something going wrong with the product, if something going wrong on your side, this is being able to be handled by the team. So the teams are responsible, they are accountable end to end for delivering an experience. It's not like, you cannot give away the responsibility. That is a very important point for me. So there's priority towards the product, priority towards the customer. And this is what basically nowadays in my industry, the IT industry, where I'm more or much coming from most of my life, it's becoming the dominant the organizational pattern to organize companies around customer centricity, and we are learning from the best here. This is a slide I stole from McKinsey. I didn't do it myself, but that's basically how you set up a more modern, agile company and an organization to deliver features and facts towards you. Let's see. So that is the organizational part, and this also is reflected in the pure manpower. We have to scale up our teams. We are 15 people in the back end or in the IT department right now. We are going to double that. We are going from 15 people to 30 people. Right now, we already onboarded in the time I am with the company, like 3 people, 4 people. So there is some way to go. Still expanding the team, basically coming from 15 people, what we have in the digital unit, digital team, digital unit, that is how it's called, my area, and coming up to scaling it up to 30 people. We not only add people with the expertise what we have, but also expand on activities what we don't have or where we have very few expertise. So the one thing is clear, we need more people to handle more things in parallel. And the other thing is we also want to improve on user UX, UI, user experience, UI, to integrate better with the processes which make a good and pleasing product, like registering a Healy or the stuff in the mobile apps. And also there's a little bit on our side, data analysis and business intelligence, BI. This simply means we need to learn and understand much better what are you doing, when are you using the devices, what you want to do, and what is good and what is wrong to improve on the stuff which is good. Sometimes we could know a little bit more, and that is why we need people for being able to analyze this. This, of course, is not on a personal level, but on the general level, like looking into the usage patterns in the day times, in the weekdays, when you are using your devices. What are the programs what you really like? What are the programs which are maybe not working? And then go on, find out why things are not working. So this is the organizational side of the presentation. More team people, different expertises and different structure. And the next area, or the second part of the slide set, is about technical activities. And starting here with the roadmap, what we set up for the next three quarters. These are basically this year, third and fourth quarter. So the months 7, 8, 9, that's quarter number 3, 10, 11, 12, so till end of the year, and the first quarter of next year. So let's start with the operational reliability. This is everything about availability of the shop system, of the back office system. These are the two systems which are very important for the members, for the network. And we know we had problems there. Things are not all jelly good. We know that. We are working on that very, very intensively, because that is not only pain on your side, but it's also pain on our side. Every time we have to find out why things are not working, we are losing capacity. We are losing speed, and we would like to invest this in more features, in better products, instead of in simply fixing problems. So this has a very, very high focus of making things run smooth without an error being available. Don't show any kind of system errors like this famous 502, 504, something like errors like this, because I want you to be able to operate the shop, to operate the back office any time of the day, anytime, any day of the month, what you would like. That is something where we already, this is already in place, it's happening right now, and it will never end. We have a 24/7 immediate response policy put in place. That means we have members in the team which are signed contracts to be reachable in 60 minutes. So it doesn't matter if it's a weekend or in the middle of the night. If something fails or breaks down, we put a process in place so that there is a telephone ringing, and the person knows exactly where to go, what to look, and try to fix it and get it up and running. Next major, so that is a baseline to make everything working smoothly. On top of that, of course, we want to improve things and make things better. So we are changing things. We are not staying where we are. We want to expand into different areas. We want to change the systems, update systems, provide you with new functionalities. This is the block of evaluations, pilots, and prototyping. We have the MLM system, we have the customer relationship backends, the prototypes, and pilot projects we are now putting on top of that. So the existing system is what you are working with right now. In the near and foreseeable future, by end of the year, we want to have new systems in place, not immediately, not for everybody available, but as soon as they come available, to provide you with better options for the backend, for the multi-level marketing, network management on your side. We want to improve on the shops, on localizations, a whole different areas. I say a little bit more about that, but that is the block of basically what we started and hope to get things available in the next couple of months before end of the year, making it available to you as members with new systems and replacing old components. And there is a team in place already for working on shops and also for working on the new MLM system, which are doing pilots and prototypes and evaluations. Global hosting and deployments, let's say important thing, but not so exciting, basic work, because we are becoming a bigger company, scaling much faster than, no, from the sales perspective, we are, of course, never scaling fast enough, but from the technical perspective, these are some challenges. We are started already and continue working on this this problem of being available all over the globe, being available in different countries, in Australia, in Asia, in America, in Europe. It's not any longer possible that we put a kind of data center somewhere in Frankfurt where you usually put your stuff in Germany and serve the whole world from there. So we are changing things there. This is an ongoing activity. and we are updating further to get faster connections, to get closer to our members, to improve on service quality. Integration and transparency with the beta program. This is the organizational thing, which is connected, of course, to the pilots and the prototyping things. At the very moment, we are, it starts with developing things and trying things out, but the very moment we come up with ideas and concept, what we believe and hope could work and work for you, we will not wait till we have it finished and totally ready and can be rolled out, but we build a group, and there is as well, Frank mentioned it already, the digital advisory board. There's a small group of close members, of VIP members, of top leaders, of influencers, whatever you want to call them. We are going to approach them and ask them for being integrated in early previews of system components to make you, as the members, as the people who are using the systems, or small groups of them, being the ones who see previews of the systems, try things out, and coming from internal versions to external visible versions to beta programs, so that you can give very early on feedback, so that we come into an iterative loop, into improving things much earlier than before releasing it to everybody. This basically, of course, you know it, is a proven model in the industry. Everybody is doing it, calling things beta for years, and to get things out of the door faster. Let's continue with what a lot of things I've just said, put a little bit on a roadmap, on a timeline thing. You will find the stuff what I just mentioned. On top of it, you see the 3 quarters, what I mentioned in the next 3 months, the next 6 months, by the next 6 months ending. So this is already started. We are in month number 7. So in 1 month of the first quarter is already done, and the third quarter is the first quarter of next year. So you have the ongoing optimization existing core systems, which is started. Everything that you already know is there and will improve. There is a team dedicated for it. As I said, the vertical focus. There is a group of people focused on making things better on the existing system, and they are not integrated in doing other things. They are focused on that, and this is fading to gray over the next 9 months. And this shall express a little bit the idea that the importance of the existing systems will fade away. I cannot tell you exactly right now in the moment where we will be in half a year from now. I expect that very certain things will remain. There will be components of the systems, of the old system, still existing and being in use. But in principle, we over time are phasing out what is not working, and we will improve and make things work good, which are good to keep. Parallel to that, another team, System 2, that is the important core of activities, developing all the new stuff. But these are 2 separate flows. So there's one group of people taking care, the stuff is working what we need in day-to-day base, and there's another group of people taking care of building the new stuff. And only when this becomes available, and only if things like this are working, they are going to replace things. So this is, let's say, the future. The one thing is the past, and the other thing is the future. So the new system, it's just a working title name, System 2, whatever that means, is the one replacing the existing component. The new global decentralized hosting, that's what I said, where we have our machines standing. Content, shop, and back office. These are the main component of the digital unit teams, all 3 together. Where this starts, the satellite, the shop, the MLM things. This is where we are trying new things. We are evaluating existing players in the market. We are looking for best practices. We are looking for who has something to offer, what can help us. And running pilot projects, running evaluations of things, and we do this in parallel to the existing stuff. Because we cannot stop, and we won't, holding up our system, what we have right now. But parallel to that, we have a group of people looking into alternatives, and they play with them and try to find better solutions. And this is what the green and blue dots are expressing. The satellite shop concept, that is something, there's a slide follow on. We want to, right now we only have one shop for the whole world with a little bit of localization. We believe it's a very good idea to being able to localize shop systems to have a different cultural identity in Southern America than in Asia, than in Europe, than in the US. We kind of are able with some tricks to do that in the moment with the existing system, but we want to drastically improve on that. And that is the concept behind the satellite shops, to, of course, keep everything together in the back end with the data set, with the products and with the MLM network. But on top of that, having satellite shops which are localized, which are focused maybe on cultural identities, like in Asia or Southern America, or are very strongly connected to the hubs what we already have. That is what we're doing to shops, and we are also doing it with content. And the other thing is where the red X, you find the red X, this is related to the point, we know we are late in time, we know that you are waiting already for quite some time for improvements. So we decided in ourselves that we are not saving time and that we are not saving money now. So what we do is, if there are promising candidates of existing systems, MLM systems, backend systems, which could improve on what we have right now with our commission engine, our commission runs, we will not try them out one by one, but we will simply make the effort of testing and evaluating them in parallel. This means more money, more costs on our side, but we are willing to spend it. This means more effort, more people, more dedicated resources on this. But the worst thing what could happen is that if they are working and all of the solutions, what you never know before, are actually good solutions and are improving things, and all of them would work, the worst thing what could happen that I would have to throw one away, and because I only need one and I don't need 2 or 3 or 4. So this means we wasted money and we wasted people, but it is important to put this in parallel because we don't want to wait until we get the results of one system to find out, okay, we have to try another one. So we are going to speed things up, and in the planning right now, and the roadmap is, as you see, the ML2 integration. The idea is to have something experimental available by end of the year, maybe a little bit earlier, but still it's in the last quarter of this year. May it be November? I cannot give you a precise date, maybe even earlier than November, but as soon as possible. And then start integrating it and making it available. There is a term on the top right, which is called GA, System 2, GA. Maybe you're not familiar with that. That is a phase thing. You come from a prototype, then you integrate the stuff, then you go into some kind of beta testing program. And if things work out perfectly and you know this is how we want to go, then things get ready, and GA just stands in the IT industry for general availability. So when the system is going to be rolled out to everybody. So when we've done the MLM2, System 2, MLM integration with whatever component it will be, I know a little bit more than I can say there, but I'm simply not able to communicate in this round internal on the partners we are working with here, external partners with companies who are providing solutions. So this is then going to become integrated in the system to make a whole, to make it available in for everybody in the next 6 to 9 months. That is about the roadmap. And I want to kind of end with a little overview or with an outlook and a vision for where this is all heading. There are important components. I mentioned them right now. So for us, the CRM system, yes, of course. And then there is a web thing. There is content, static content for documentation, for videos, Healy Academy, Healyworld. That is one thing. The next thing is the shop itself. This is the component where you buy stuff, where you get the refunding processes, where you organize your subscriptions. And then there is the MLM, where you manage your network, where you manage your sponsors, your partners, your placements, where you work on the trees. All this kind of is an integrated system in the moment. What will happen over the next couple of months is that we kind of disintegrate, or we decouple this component from each other, that they become available independently. And the reason for that is that we want to make them to create a kind of like having the possibility with Brickwork, that we can combine them freely to create a fully decentralized and a decoupled system. In the very, very back end, I called it here mothership, or some other fancy buzzwords from the IT industry called the data lake or warehouse. That's a little bit an older term. This basically means at some place there is a central company, there is the bookkeeping where the financials going on, the data what we need as a company to operate. But the countries can be very, very different. Country 2, country 1 might be different in what they need, in what the cultural identity and what requirements are. And that is why we are decoupling the single components, that we can build a specialized a solution which is very, very closely adjusted and adopted to the requirements of the local market. And we can even leave things out or combine them with other things. Integrate market leading solutions for special markets. So this is the outlook for the next year, to create a system which gives us as a company much more flexibility to define our digital setup. And in the consequence, of course, it has only the reason not for me to play around, but for giving you in your different countries more options, or more better fitting options to make your business, to connect with your leaders, connect with your members. On the bottom right, there's something what we are not using right now. So I even could imagine having kind of a franchise system where we can break out components and you can integrate it in your own websites more easily. That is something what, as a result, would be possible, hopefully in the next year, to have even more options. I think this covers up. Yes, this covers up the slides and what I have. So the red dot is the end. And Frank, you are talking, but I can't hear you.
Thank you very much, Dirk. And maybe I can say one more thing. If I translate it into a sales language, what Dirk said is, I want to bring back really the sparkles in your eyes when you open a back office or a shop, because it's easy, you get the information you want, it's comfortable, you get everything you need in those platforms. And I know that Dirk is aiming on this too, because he understood what we do. He has a very, very pragmatic way of working, saying what works, what doesn't work. So I'm very confident we get where we want to be, becoming from a startup to a global acting worldwide company. So thank you, Dirk, for being on the call today. And because we're already running a little late in time, I want to hand over to our next speaker. He's with us for 6 months already. He doesn't come from network, but I have to say, I think he fell in love with network. And I have to give him my regards, because he made a great effort to understand what we do, what our leaders and members and member centricity, customer centricity means for network. So please welcome our Chief Executive Officer, Mr. Andreas Kornberger. Hi, Andreas.
Hi, Frank. Yeah, hello, everyone. Great to have you on this webinar and to have the opportunity to talk to you, to so many people. First of all, I would like to say thank you to Markus, Frank, Dirk for the explanations and the presentations what you did before. I think Markus was quite good explaining us what will be possible with the Healy in the future and in which direction we are moving. As well, he was explaining a lot of deeper insights. For me, it's always great it's a great experience to listen and to learn from Markus, yeah. And I think Dirk was very good explaining on what we are currently working and what we are planning to work on to serve you as our members in a better way. I hope you have got a good overview and you have got the understanding, a deep understanding on what we will improve and what we still have planned to improve for the next few months. Well, Frank was talking about facts and figures, and I think in this case, in my point of view, there's not, or maybe there's nothing to add. We achieved almost unbelievable sales figures, and there's really an incredible performance in the network. I have to say, really, a big thank you to everybody of you for this really, in my point of view, outstanding performance. We really appreciate your work, and you are doing really a great job for Healy. What makes me really happy is when I'm listening to Dirk and to Frank, both of you, Frank as well as Dirk, was a couple of times talking about customer centricity during the presentations. Yeah, and this is, in my point of view, our key of success. If we have really a clear focus to our customers and a clear focus to our members and a clear focus to our users, I think this is, in my point of view, the key of our success. All of us within the company is aware about that we are still a startup, and I think this is very important to highlight once again that we are a startup. We are in the second year of our company history, and we're still having a long way to go, and we have still many challenges ahead. But I can tell you, I'm very confident that we will manage it, and we will sustainably succeed. On one hand side on the market, on the other hand side together with you in the network marketing. If we will not make it, who else? Yeah. I think it's also important, and I would like to share also a little bit my way of thinking and my understanding about the situation about Healy. And it's always good to talk a little bit about strengths and opportunities, and maybe also to talk a bit about weaknesses. Yeah. And the good thing is we have, despite we are only 2 years old as a company, or let's say, despite that we are working in the network business since beginning of 2019, we have already many strengths. Yeah? First of all, I think we have to underline, we have to highlight, we have really exceptionally unique product with the Healy. Yeah? We have a strong story behind the Healy. That means we really can talk about a good product, and we can really bring additional value to the people who are using the value, but not only to the users of the Healy, we can also bring a lot of additional value to the network. And then I would say also one of our strengths is that we have an unbelievably strong and a very competent and really well-performing network, and this makes me really very proud. Of course, there are also some weaknesses. And I think when you are managing a company, you have to be aware about the weaknesses. As I mentioned before, we are still a startup, or we are still on the stage of a startup company, and we have still a lot of improvements and changes. So there are still a lot of improvements and changes necessary. We have to improve, or we have to further improve the structure. We have to redesign some of our processes. And of course, we have to significantly improve our systems, as Dirk mentioned before, but I feel also in this case very confident that the team around Dirk will manage this. On the other hand side, there are really great opportunities, because first of all, there is a huge market potential globally. It's really unbelievable huge potential. Because there's on one hand side, there's a trend of digitalization. Everybody of you is aware about that. But on the other hand side, there's also a huge global trend of healthiness, fitness, and well-being. And this trend, in any case, is supporting us with our further development and with our growth in revenue, in sales, and of course also in growth of number of members. In my point of view, the product, the Healy, really fits perfectly into the current time. And of course, the network is definitely a strong leverage for the further development. Well, I would like to give you also a little bit insight how I'm thinking about managing in a company, how I'm thinking about Healy. I think it's important because, as Frank mentioned, I'm new within Healy as the CEO. It's also a new experience for me to work in the network marketing, and it's really a great experience for me. In the past, as a manager, or also when I was working as a consultant, I was quite often asking myself why I'm working, why I'm moving, why I'm managing companies, why I'm consulting companies or why I'm managing companies, for what purpose? It was not, to be honest, it was not always easy to answer this question to myself. Since I started working as CEO at Healy, I can really tell you I have been very emotionally connected to the company and to the product. And to be honest, after a few weeks of experience and learnings, also emotionally connected to the network as well. And now maybe you're asking what I mean with purpose. Why does a manager needs a purpose to work? I think purpose is one of the strongest motivation factors for managers as well as for employees or for every human being. I think it's always important to have a purpose. And I can tell you my personal purpose to work for Healy and to work really very hard is first of all to make Healy a sustainable success story. Together with you, and when I say together with you, I mean my team on corporate side, and together with you in the network. But it's not the one and only purpose to make Healy sustainable successful or to a sustainable success story. I think there's one more very important purpose in my point of view, and this is to enable people to live a better and to live a healthier life. I think this is really a great purpose, and this is for me personally a very strong motivation factor, and what helps me to feel fully responsible for the company, for you as a leader, for you as a member, finally for our Healy users out there, and of course also for our Healy employees. To be responsible needs always a kind of guidelines, and therefore I'm guided by values. I was talking about the values already last week when we had a Zoom call in a smaller group. And I think it's important to underline or to highlight or to talk once again about what are the values which guides me. First of all, as we were talking already before, it's definitely customer centricity, member centricity, and to make customer and members and users satisfied. In my point of view, this is definitely the key for future success. Then I'm also striving for quality on one hand side, quality in product, on the other hand side, quality in work. I'm definitely striving for sustainability. That means I want to establish Healy as a sustainable, successful company, as a sustainable, successful story in the world. I always act open and honestly, and I always follow the principles to act also transparently and legally, what was also mentioned a couple of times from Frank and from Dirk. These values are also the values that guide, I would say, the entire management team within Healy or within Healy Corporate. and this makes us definitely very strong as a team. And I think Frank was talking also about how we are working together as a team, about our common targets, about our transparent manner to collaborate with each other. I think this is really a very good basis for the further development of the company. Yeah, when we have a look back, I think together with you, we have already achieved so much. Yeah, despite we are in the second year of the company, we have opened officially 45 countries officially opened. We are delivering to 55 countries. Yeah, in the second year already, we achieved 100,000 members. It's really a fantastic result. Yeah, and we have an incredible